Imagine this. She notices your absence before she even admits it to herself. That subtle vacuum you leave isn't just silence. It's a mirror reflecting her deepest fears, the ones she never voices. You disappearing isn't dramatic. It isn't childish. It's the trigger for her mind to finally confront the truth she's been avoiding. She might lose you. And make no mistake, men, this is the exact moment when real power shifts silently, almost invisibly, in your favor. Most men think women only notice actions when they're loud or dramatic. That's a lie. Women notice the subtle shifts, the pauses in conversation, the lack of a ping in her messages, the sudden space where your presence used to be. Her brain doesn't register disappeared in the way yours might. It registers loss. It lights up every part of her emotional circuitry, and suddenly she's asking questions she didn't even know she needed answers to. Where did he go? Did I push too hard? Does he really care? Every one of those thoughts chips away at her sense of control, because suddenly she's confronting uncertainty about you. And uncertainty is the most potent spark of desire she can feel. Here's the raw truth most men fail to see. Absence isn't punishment. It's a reveal. By simply stepping back, you're forcing her to face the reality that her feelings for you are stronger than she may have realized. She starts replaying every interaction, the moments she laughed too loudly, the times she subtly sought your approval, the nights she wondered if you noticed her at all. And each memory, every little echo of you, begins to weigh heavier in her mind. What you might think is ignoring her is actually creating a gravitational pull she can't resist. But notice this, it's not about ego or games. Disappearing works because it gives her the space to confront her own emotions, her own subconscious desires. Women are wired to seek security, connection, and validation. But when those are suddenly absent, her mind goes into high alert. She starts measuring her own worth through your absence. If she notices she misses you intensely, she's acknowledging that you matter more than she admitted. That's the moment where respect and desire intertwine. She can't control it, and yet she's desperate to feel it again. The psychological mechanism is fascinating. Your absence triggers what neuroscientists call the loss aversion effect. She experiences a mental gap where her brain interprets the absence of you as a potential permanent loss. That fear isn't rational, it's instinctual, and fear, when paired with longing, becomes a magnetic force she can't consciously resist. She starts to analyze every detail of your last encounters, every nuance of your tone, every message or silence you left behind. In her mind, she's running simulations. If I had acted differently, would he still be here? And unknowingly, she's preparing herself to value you in a way she never did when you were constantly present. This is where most men fail. They think presence equals power. Wrong. True influence, the kind that awakens respect and desire simultaneously, comes from knowing when to be absent. Every message not sent, every call not made, every instant response withheld is a subtle demonstration of self-respect and boundaries. Two things that women can feel deep down, even if they can't articulate them. You're not punishing her. You're showing her that your attention is earned and your energy is not freely disposable. And that, men, is magnetic. She may try to rationalize it. Maybe he's busy, she'll say. Maybe he's just tired. But deep down, she feels it. The absence cuts through the rationalizations. It exposes emotional truth. She misses you. And in that missing, in that longing, lies the seed of respect, intrigue, and desire that no constant attention could ever create. Now, ask yourself, are you ready to let her face that truth? Are you willing to let the pull of absence awaken what she's been unconsciously denying? Because what comes next isn't about words. It's about the silent power you wield simply by not being there. When you vanish, even just for a short time, her mind doesn't quietly shrug it off. It races. Every moment without you is a mental mirror reflecting her insecurities, her hidden desires, and her unspoken need for validation. She begins to feel the tension she never allowed herself to acknowledge before. That subtle emptiness in her daily life, the small spaces where your laughter, your words, your presence used to be, suddenly becomes the loudest thing she hears. She notices the silence first, not the obvious silence of no conversation, but the invisible kind, the absence of your attention, the lack of energy she could once take for granted. And this is where it hits hardest. Her brain starts connecting dots she didn't even realize were important. Why does he seem distant? She wonders. Did I push too hard? Did I say the wrong thing? Anxiety mingles with longing, creating a storm she can't ignore. This isn't about anger or resentment, it's about need. She needs to feel you again, and for the first time, she's willing to confront the depth of her own feelings. The emotional escalation is subtle but relentless. Every memory of you, your smile, your subtle compliments, the way you made her feel seen, comes rushing back. She replays scenarios, texts, moments in her mind, analyzing them under a microscope. Was that laugh too loud? Did I overstep? Did I miss a sign? She doesn't want to admit it, but the truth is unavoidable. She feels a void only you can fill. And in that void, her desire grows sharper, her respect deepens, and the magnetic pull toward you becomes impossible to ignore. What's happening here isn't coincidence. It's a psychological law. The more she perceives the possibility of permanent loss, the more intensely she feels your value. Absence creates a kind of emotional tension that constant attention could never manufacture. Every man who remains always present loses the power of scarcity. Every man who allows space creates a gravitational force she can feel in her bones. This isn't manipulation. It's natural human psychology. You're giving her the space to confront the emotions she's been conveniently avoiding, and in that confrontation, she begins to truly understand what you mean to her. But notice this, her feelings aren't purely emotional, they're cognitive, too. She starts reevaluating how she treated you, how she behaved when your attention was easy to obtain. She may feel regret. She may feel frustration at herself for not valuing you sooner. That mental conflict between desire and guilt, longing and uncertainty, is precisely the tension that makes her feel alive around you again. It's powerful, almost intoxicating. And while she may act casual or dismissive on the surface, internally, she's navigating a storm of emotions that she can't control and doesn't want to admit. Your disappearance doesn't just trigger desire, it triggers reflection. She asks herself hard questions about her choices, her priorities, and her feelings. For the first time, she measures her emotions against your absence and realizes that she's emotionally invested far more than she was willing to acknowledge. That internal reckoning is dangerous in the best way. It transforms the ordinary into extraordinary. It turns her longing into action. It turns curiosity into initiative. And it turns fleeting attention into unwavering focus on you. Here's the key, men. This isn't about playing games. It's about creating emotional gravity through your presence and absence. It's about showing that you are not a constant in her life, but a force she must earn, respect, and desire. You don't need to announce it. You don't need to explain. Every step back is a silent message. Your energy is valuable, your attention is rare, and your connection is not disposable. And when she feels that truth deeply, she will naturally gravitate toward it, almost instinctively, because human beings crave what they almost lose. So watch closely. Observe the subtle shift, the longing in her words, the hesitation in her tone, the sudden need to fill the void you left. These are not mistakes or coincidences. They are the invisible threads of attraction and respect being rewoven in real time. And the more she feels the weight of your absence, the more she awakens to the realization that losing you would be a loss she cannot ignore. Once your absence lingers, even slightly, she starts to feel it everywhere. In the quiet moments, in the small routines of her day, in the space where your presence used to exist. She begins noticing how little things, once overlooked, suddenly hold meaning. The way your voice sounded on the last call, the way your smile made her chest tighten, the way your attention felt effortless yet irreplaceable. That small vacuum you've created, it's no longer empty. It's filled with her growing awareness of what she cannot easily replace. Her mind races to rationalize her emotions. She tells herself, he must be busy, or maybe he just needs space. But her heart, her instincts, her subconscious, the parts she cannot control, are screaming a different truth. She feels a void, and only you can fill it. She begins replaying moments in her head, obsessively, almost involuntarily. Every text you sent, every laugh shared, every touch or compliment you offered becomes a memory she can't unsee. And with each recollection, the emotional gravity pulls harder, demanding acknowledgement, demanding response. This is where her psychology becomes fascinating. When men are always available, women's minds often take it for granted. Desire dulls, attraction plateaus, but your absence disrupts that pattern. It introduces uncertainty, the most powerful emotional catalyst. Uncertainty triggers curiosity, longing, and even a subtle sense of anxiety. She starts questioning herself. Why isn't he here? Did I say something wrong? Does he even care? That inner turmoil isn't weakness. It's the exact mechanism that awakens her awareness of your value. And once that awareness ignites, desire follows almost automatically. She might try to cover it with pride. She might pretend indifference. She may even act a little cold, testing the limits of your distance. But underneath that exterior, she is calculating, analyzing, and feeling every subtle omission. Her emotions are no longer passive, they're active, probing, restless. She's comparing reality with what she thought she knew about you, realizing the truth. She misses not just your presence, but the feeling of being noticed, valued, and understood by you. And that realization, it's sharper, more powerful, more magnetic than any attention you could have constantly given. Here's the unspoken truth men rarely see. This is not about manipulation. It's about clarity. By stepping back, you're giving her a chance to confront what she's been suppressing. The depth of her attachment, the intensity of her attraction, the respect she holds for your energy. And the moment she truly sees it, she begins to recalibrate, not just emotionally, but behaviorally. She may reach out in subtle ways, change how she interacts, or even become more present emotionally. That pull isn't forced. It's a natural response to emotional scarcity combined with genuine value. As her mind processes your absence, she also starts projecting the future without you. That projection creates tension because it's uncomfortable, unfamiliar, and scary. And human beings are wired to act when confronted with potential loss, especially when that loss touches something they desire. She starts weighing her actions, her words, and even her feelings, realizing that her attachment is stronger than she thought. And the more she feels it, the more her subconscious begins to seek a path back toward you. Here's the final piece of this psychological puzzle. Absence transforms her longing into motivation. She may begin noticing how much she depends on your emotional energy, how much your attention matters to her day-to-day mood, how her thoughts unconsciously return to you. That's the silent shift. The moment when she's no longer simply missing you, but actively desiring you, planning for you, imagining a return to the connection she almost took for granted. And that shift, men, is where the subtle power of disappearance becomes irresistible. At this point, your silence isn't absence, it's influence. It's a force she can feel but cannot name. It's a presence without presence, a tension without touch, a pull without words. And in that tension, her mind and heart are awakening to truths she may never admit aloud. You matter more than she realized, and the fear of losing you is now inseparably entwined with her desire for you. As your absence stretches, her emotions begin to take on a weight she can no longer ignore. What started as curiosity transforms into subtle tension, then into a restless yearning she can't shake. She notices how her day feels different without you, not empty in a neutral sense, but hollow, like a rhythm has been broken. Every small habit, every routine that once included your presence now highlights the space you occupy in her mind. And with that realization comes an emotional awakening. She begins to feel the magnitude of what she truly has in you. This is where desire merges with introspection. She starts asking herself the questions she never dared to before. Did I really appreciate him? Did I take his presence for granted? Would I feel this emptiness with anyone else? That mental reckoning isn't comfortable. Pride, ego, and habit fight against the truth, But longing wins because absence doesn't lie. It exposes emotional reality in a way that attention never could. Your disappearance forces her to evaluate not only her feelings for you, but also her own choices, her own priorities, her own sense of value. What she feels now isn't simple missing, it's guilt layered with desire. She regrets the times she demanded too much, or the moments she doubted you, or the nights she failed to appreciate your energy. Guilt doesn't weaken her attraction, it sharpens it. It makes every memory of you more poignant, every thought of your presence more urgent. Her subconscious begins to frame you as a standard, a benchmark she didn't realize she set. And now the fear of losing you crystallizes into something tangible. That fear isn't panic, it's the recognition that she has underestimated your worth, and that recognition ignites longing in its purest form. As this emotional storm builds, her actions start to shift. She may reach out subtly, testing boundaries, gauging whether you're truly gone or just distant. She might reminisce openly, drop hints in conversation, or even change how she interacts with others to reflect what she feels inside. All of these behaviors, men, are evidence of a mind and heart grappling with absence. They are the psychological pull of scarcity combined with genuine emotional attachment. You don't have to say a word. Every small gesture she makes is a reflection of her growing realization. She doesn't want you gone. The intensity deepens because absence forces reflection. She begins to imagine life without you, and that imagination isn't abstract. It's vivid, emotional, and uncomfortable. Every scenario she conjures carries a weight of longing and potential loss. She realizes she can't replace what you bring, she can't replicate the energy you create, and she can't ignore the truth that your presence mattered more than she acknowledged. That's a rare awakening, a recognition of value that constant attention could never produce. At this point, absence has done its work. She feels you everywhere she turns, in memories, in routines, in her inner dialogue. And yet, the most powerful part of this is subtle. She hasn't realized the full magnitude of her shift. Respect, desire, and longing have merged in ways that are almost unstoppable. She is emotionally invested, even if she doesn't articulate it. She is internally drawn to you, trying to reconcile the space you've created with her internal need for connection. Men, this is the quiet power of disappearance. It's not games, it's not manipulation, it's a demonstration of self-respect, boundaries, and the invisible gravity you create when you step back. And while she may fight it consciously, subconsciously, she cannot resist. Every thought she has, every flicker of longing, every pang of guilt and reflection is drawing her closer to understanding one truth. Losing you would hurt more than she imagined, and she will do everything inside her power to reclaim that connection. She notices the silence first, not the obvious silence of no conversation, but the invisible kind, the absence of your attention, the lack of energy she could once take for granted. And this is where it hits hardest. Her brain starts connecting dots she didn't even realize were important. Why does he seem distant? She wonders. Did I push too hard? Did I say the wrong thing? Anxiety mingles with longing, creating a storm she can't ignore. This isn't about anger or resentment. It's about need. She needs to feel you again, and for the first time, she's willing to confront the depth of her own feelings. Now imagine her mind in full awareness. Your absence has stretched long enough for reflection, longing, and desire to intertwine. She is no longer simply noticing that you're gone. She's feeling it in her chest, in her thoughts, in the silent moments when she is alone. That quiet space, that vacuum you created, has transformed into a mirror of her own emotions. She begins to see herself clearly, her fears, her regrets, and most importantly, the undeniable truth. She misses you more than she wants to admit. This is where the magic of disappearance peaks. Desire, respect, and fear of loss converge. She starts to notice everything she once overlooked, the subtle ways you made her feel safe, seen, and valued, the unspoken energy you gave that no one else could replicate. She recalls moments where your presence felt effortless yet irreplaceable. Each memory acts as a spark, igniting emotions she can't rationally control. She realizes that what she once took for granted is now a rarity she cannot ignore. Her mind cycles through scenarios. What would it be like if you never returned? Could she handle the emptiness? Would someone else ever compare? These thoughts create tension, a potent, almost magnetic pull toward you, and it's a pull that she can't consciously resist. She might fight it outwardly, presenting pride, detachment, or even frustration, but inside, every thought, every memory, every pang of longing reinforces one truth. She values you far more than she ever admitted. At this stage, her respect for you has intensified. Not just respect for your attention, but respect for your boundaries, your self-worth, and your independence. She realizes that you are not simply a fixture in her life to be taken for granted. You are a choice, a standard, and a presence that demands appreciation. That combination of respect and desire is almost intoxicating for her, an emotional gravity that she cannot escape. And the more she feels it, the more naturally she aligns her actions toward you, sometimes without even realizing it. But here's the ultimate revelation. Absence doesn't just make her think about you, it makes her feel you. It wakes up emotions she suppressed, priorities she ignored, and desires she buried under routine and comfort. She starts recalibrating her behavior, her words, even her energy. She unconsciously begins seeking ways to reconnect, to test whether you are still the same man she valued, admired, and desired. And in that process, she experiences a transformation. Longing becomes clarity, and absence becomes a lesson in understanding what she truly cannot live without. This is where power lies, men. Not in chasing, pleading, or over-explaining. Power lies in letting her feel the weight of what she has in you. Power lies in showing that your attention is earned, your presence is rare, and your absence speaks louder than any words ever could. Every message not sent, every call not returned, every silence maintained communicates value that constant availability could never convey. And that unspoken truth that you are not disposable is what ultimately awakens both desire and respect in ways that last far beyond fleeting attention. So here's the final question for you. If absence can awaken longing, respect, and desire, how will you wield it in your own life? What would happen if you allowed the power of stepping back to reveal what others truly feel for you? Type your answer in the comments below. I want to hear your perspective. And if this video gave you insight you needed, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with a friend who needs to understand this truth. The reality is simple but profound. Sometimes the most powerful action is doing nothing at all and letting the emotions of others reveal the value of your presence.